Welcome to Academy Standouts for Week 4 of the 2021 Summer Split. We'll be looking at the NA Academy play from last week and talking through the players who stood out most to me, impressed me the most, and kind of why they made it onto this list with a few main features. I'm actually going to be featuring 4 players primarily this week instead of the 3 that I normally do, and then some kind of additional standouts in addition to that. So let's jump right into it. I don't want to take too long on this because it is just boiling hot here right now, and I had to turn my fan off so it doesn't mess up the audio. So I'm going to be melting as we do this, but here we go. Let's jump in with our first player. First player I want to highlight is Kumo, and I put this together on Friday before the LCS weekend was actually played, and so I was pleasantly surprised to see that Kumo and of course Tomo and Diamond got that game in the LCS, and I think Kumo specifically had really earned it. And I'm sure there were other pressures within FlyQuest for, dropping out some of their starters and bringing their academy guys up. And it wasn't just about the academy players earning it. But Kumo, I think for his part over the last couple of weeks, has definitely been earning his shot to kind of try again to stick in the LCS. He had a really great week. FlyQuest Academy overall did. They went 4-0 over Golden Guardians Academy, Dignitas Academy, which are 2 of the weaker LCS teams. Except that you have to recognize, as I put in the write-up, that Dig A did 2-0 Cloud9 Academy, so that beating Dignitas Academy is not just some kind of free win or something like that. But he was really good, had a 7.5 KDA, good laning leads, lots of damage output, but it was really more about the way he creates advantages and applies aggressive pressure. I think the aggressive kind of melee picks seemed to really fit his comfort zone, so he played Nocturne, Lee Sin, Viego, which are very much in vogue right now. So it seems like he's right within his pocket in this meta, and for the last couple of weeks now, he's been shining very clearly. Next player up is Takeover. So he's again the new mid laner for TSM Academy, who's able to play now. He's Korean heritage, but a Chilean raised in Chile. So he's coming in as an import from a minor region, which allows you a little bit more flexibility at the academy level. But all of that aside, he's doing very well. He played. I can't remember what champions exactly. I didn't write them down, but he's just all around been impressive. Playmaking, winning lane, carrying. Really good laning leads last week. He's just looking like one of the best mids in Academy right off the bat, and he's only a couple of weeks into his stay there, and he's 18 years old. I think this is a guy that we're going to continue to watch very closely. NXI, the jungler for FlyQuest Academy, along with, I find I often land on a pair of players from, the best performing team of the week or whatever it's going to be in these, and this time it was Kumo and NXI together. It's not intentional that I look for a pair of those players, but I just find it often ends up working out that way. NXI has just been destroying people on Rumble, especially. I put out a little PSA on Twitter, hey, maybe you should ban his Rumble. The coaching staff of FlyQuest wasn't too happy about that, but but he went out and he had a really good game on Diana afterwards as well. So he's doing well. He's carrying. He's growing. I think NXI is a guy who he was in scouting grounds last year, and from what I remember, he was the first overall pick. Not that it means a whole lot in the way that draft works out, but he has been consistently growing since he came into Academy out of scouting grounds, and I think it's a really good sign. And if he continues on that, he could very well become an LCS quality player in the next year or two. And then finally, jojopyun. He's been pretty inconsistent this split, which is the kind of thing you kind of expect from not only from a 16-year-old player, but from somebody who plays as aggressively as he does and is willing to try so many players and try to force things so much, and whose mindset is the opposite of a KDA player, like, hey, I'm going to go for this and I might die, but it might still be a good play anyways. We definitely saw that this week. It worked out at a higher rate this week, so he was able to be consistent enough to make it into these lists. He did stuff on Akali, for example, where he just dives straight in the middle of a fight, deal a ton of damage, end up dying for it, but the team won the fight, and a big part of it was because he was able to create so much chaos and output so much damage and set up kills for his teammates. So you can see when you look at his stats, he does tend to have somewhat suppressed KDAs, but his damage, like 741 DPM in over 4 games, is really high, especially when he's not playing like big poke champions and stuff like that. Putting 4 games in an Ezreal or 3 games in an Ezreal, stuff like that. So This was the most consistent week he's had so far in the summer. We need to see more of that, and I think the main thing that EG should be looking for out of jojopyun, and that he should be looking for out of himself right now, is increasing that consistency level. He's got the mindset, he's got the instinct, he's got the hands, but he just needs to dial it back in just a little bit so that he's consistently making a higher volume of good plays and not quite so many bad deaths. And that's really the main thing we're looking for. And then some additional standouts here. So another player from EG Academy, contracts. Don't let him play Nidalee. He gets to play Nidalee sometimes. He destroys people on it. But it's not just about Nidalee. Like, we saw him get his one game in the LCS against TSM. Really good on Diana, I believe it was. And he's got a wide champion pool. He likes to be aggressive. He likes to put all kinds of pressure on. He had a good week. Darshan, also a good week. This is a typo. They didn't actually go 4-0 this week. I'm going to have to fix that. But I think it's 0-4. They went 0-4 this week, but Darshan was doing everything in his power to prevent it. Yeah, I'm going to have to fix that quick. And he was, I always appreciate when a player can stand out in a loss. And he definitely did that in the series against 100 Thieves Academy. He had, I would say he had kind of 3 good games and then one kind of off game. But overall, he's been quite consistent, and I think he's he hasn't really lost much of a step since being in Academy for this long. In fact, I'd say he's playing a little better now than he has some of the previous Academy years. So I'm pretty impressed with what he's putting together. Hanser is another one where his team fighting has really been improving over the course of the year, playing set and having really good engages, occupying a lot of space and landing his CC. He also had kind of one off game, but other than that, I think he might have had, outside of that one off game, in the other 3 games, I'd say he was at least as good as Takeover, maybe even a little better, and it was a more important part of TSM Academy. So I think he's really improved. I don't know if it's maybe his mindset in Academy has improved over the course of the year. He's increased his consistency. He had a lot of plays in spring where it just seemed like he didn't care too much, or he was too frustrated or whatever, and he just kind of YOLO'd it, and those have kind of been going away over the course of the year, which is really good, and his just natural skill and experience advantage and all that is coming through more. Kenvi, the jungle for 100 Thieves Academy, also had a strong week. Really good Kindred game, some solid Rumble. Pretty for Immortals Academy, the mid laner. Speaking of players who do well while the team is kind of struggling around them, he played Viego, Akali, Ezreal, Lee Sin. Again, he's a very flexible player, plays a lot of different things. But, despite his individual work, the team is kind of struggling to put that together into wins. So it is a little bit difficult for him to stand out visibly, probably to most people. But I think if you pay close attention to what he's doing a lot of good things, and he's giving his team chances to win for sure. And then finally, Prismal, got another Ziggs from him. He played some Jinx. He does so much in team fights and puts himself in great positions. But again, another player who sometimes his team does well around him, sometimes they kind of struggle, but he is consistently doing fulfilling his role, manufacturing kind of like trade kills or winning fights that maybe they seemed like they didn't deserve to win. And Prismal's the guy who continues to kind of keep my attention, and I'm hoping we'll be able to see him move up to LCS sooner rather than later. So those are the standouts for week 4, and we'll continue to move forward. I might be a little delayed next week. I'm going to be away for part of this week, and we'll be probably behind on Academy VODs, but I'll try to get the update out for next week without too much of a delay. So thanks for watching.